morning, ladies and gentlemen. And Bernard, thank you so much for inviting me and for such a kind introduction. I understand now why I'm invited here, because the subject of my talk, which is the Renaissance engineer, it fits very nicely into what you mentioned. That is the main topic of our discussions, and it is the changing expectations. There are changing expectations in many different professions, but perhaps engineering is unlike many other professions that is evolving dramatically. And in fact, what's really good about it is that there's evolution, so to speak, or perhaps to a degree a revolution, is driven by the current young generation of engineers. And there's particular responsibility on the part of us in academia to make sure that we will be able to recognize those new needs and that we will be able to respond to it. Well, I've been living in Toronto for not even 2 years, and when I look around, I see a lot of friends that I've made with the engineering community, and perhaps so because I have the pleasure of leading a unique project at York University, the project that focuses on creating the next generation of Renaissance engineers, and I wanted to share it with you. Now, in order to put everything in a context, so to speak, those of you who didn't know much about York, it is the third largest university in Canada, more than 50,000 students, but predominantly York had been known, or still is known, for strengths in humanities, social sciences, rather, and business as well, law. Not necessarily in my own field of engineering. So just 2 years ago, before I came to York, we've made a decision that there will be a substantial and, in fact, for academia, dramatic investment in science and engineering, particularly in engineering. So what I wanted to do today is give you a glimpse of where we are with this Renaissance engineering project, but also where we're going. What is the pathway that we are undertaking? And I'm very much interested in comments and critique, perhaps, in order for us to make sure that we're going to undertake an optimal way. The only way to do so is to build this new type of engineering by consensus, because our students will be working with you. This rather sooner rather than later. So we want to make sure that you understand our intentions, and vice versa, that what we do is reflecting your needs. Now, let me begin with this statement, which I like, which is true that what's in the past, it helped shape us as we are today. But it doesn't. But you're not going to build the future based exclusively on traditions and your history. We are truly responsible for who we want to be, or what we want this profession of engineering to be, and that is exactly what we set to do. Now, in many different aspects of life, there are a lot of perceptions that drive our opinions. And it is the same thing with engineering, and it is the same thing with what we do every day. So let me just quiz you. Some of you had an opportunity to listen to my talk just a few days ago at OCEPP. So those of you who know the answers to the quiz, please don't share it with your colleagues. Now, so let me ask you a question. Look, there is what would you have invested in this group of individuals if they came to your office with a good idea? Well, if you did, that would be a terrific decision to make. This is a Microsoft team with Bill Gates right there on the left-hand side in a blue shirt. So it's a perception that you may that you have, and then perhaps you would act based on the perception rather than anything else. Now let me ask another question. Look, would you let these people run your country? Well, perhaps the answer would be no, but Brits did, and this is Tony Blair, a former prime minister, here together with his colleagues, and several of them were ministers in his Labour government. So what it tells you is that just a first instant of looking at things not necessarily is the best to make your informative decisions. That's what we decided to do. It doesn't really matter how you look, what you do. What matters is the power of ideas that you have. In fact, ideas are critical in order to make things happen in any field, but particularly in my own field, in academia and engineering. Now, if you look at engineer, how the profession had changed, what I decided to do is just categorize it, so to speak, in three different ways. Back in 2 centuries ago, in the 19th century, essentially this is where the profession of an engineer was created, and where our profession stood separate from others, and it became essentially a distinct profession. But in the 20th century, it changed dramatically, and it changed because of the very close link that was established between engineering and science. One of the most successful projects of linking engineering and science was the Manhattan Project. Although some may question the moral values of the project, if you will, but from the technical point of view, scientific and engineering point of view, it was a terrific achievement, and it did change the way how engineering was perceived. Now, in current century, it is all changing dramatically. It is changing because of the current generation of new young minds that are not afraid of working with anybody on anything and trying to solve everything. Now, that is the concept that we are embracing at York, truly. So that's what we decided to do. We decided to create an engineering school that truly is going to respond to this new calling. Now, if you are going to make a change, it's not very easy. You know that the only person that really likes change is a baby with a wet nappy. You see, people don't like it. And you have to, if you're making a change, you have to realize that there will be a variety of characters that you will be working with, and the way to do so is, as always, via consensus. You have to convince people to embrace ideas that you have, and vice versa. You have to be open-minded to the ideas of others. Now, in the current century, when I look at the driving forces in engineering, by the way, in science as well. There are 6 of them. And so innovation is certainly, and collaboration. Transdisciplinarity is what I call transdisciplinarity. Is not just a interdisciplinary interaction on campus between the engineering and science and business and law and so on. It is also going outside campus and partnership with industry, partnership with government, with business community and so on. The international partnerships are becoming absolutely critical. In fact, one of the key pillars of our project is the international partnership. Recognizing diversity and variety of options is important, and competitiveness is true as well. Sometimes my colleagues at York, they don't like when I say that we must be competitive. I mean, we are all competitive. It's a healthy competition. There's nothing wrong about healthy competition. So on one side, being collaborative and competitive, as long as we will be able to create a balance between these two activities, that will be very, very good indeed, in my opinion. Now, so this is how I see how engineering is changing in the 21st century. It's truly becoming different. We are not anymore individuals solving problems somewhere in the corner or on the desk in the office. We are all over we're all over many facets of life in a society. So we are truly becoming and embracing this team-based leadership. Now, it is very important to see that we are it is necessary for engineers to be truly well-balanced. What I mean by well-balanced, it means that we have to understand the world a little bit better in order to offer solutions to its problems. And in our case, what we really want to do is, and we are going to do so, we're going to initiate a gender parity ambition or aspiration for our programs. It is very important to be open to this under-tapped source of engineering talent and embrace and accept more female students in academia. This is in engineering particularly. It's very, very important. And we have to realize that the way how students are currently learning things is totally different. It's not anymore this kind of gathering that you have one speaker and then, or one lecturer, and then you have 400 students in a classroom. This is not going to work anymore. This is not going to work well anymore. There are different ways of passing knowledge on to the young generation, and I will explain what our solutions are to this. Now, so our solution is relatively simple, in fact, although it flips a lot of things about the current perception of engineering. Now, if you change anything, and in order to be meaningful and in order to work, one of the in addition to having good ideas, in addition to having a terrific group of people that will be working with you implementing these ideas, one thing that is always necessary is money. I mean, it's as simple as that. You won't be able to do too many things if you don't have it. In our case, it's a big project. $250 million investment over some period of time is substantial. Now, what we are doing, and in fact we will be making a formal announcement very soon, is as of July 1 this year, we're going to have a new faculty of engineering. It will be called the Lassonde School of Engineering at York University. that will be leading this $250 million investment over some period of time. What does it mean? Well, by the way, so the story is following. We had some good ideas, and we went to talk to Pierre Lassonde. Pierre Lassonde, he is the chairman of Franco-Nevada Corporation. It is one of the biggest gold mining corporations, and he's a friend with Seymour Schulich, who is very well known in many corners in Canada, because he, and also on campuses, because he created, so to speak, a virtual university. He has this tendency of investing in only one field, in a particular city. So if he invested, as he did, in business school, Schulich School of Business in Toronto, he would never invest again in Toronto. So then he invested in music, Faculty of Music at McGill University in Montreal. He would never invest again in Montreal, and so on. So he created this wonderful virtual university, and he helped us convince Pierre that those ideas that we had were very good, and it was not easy because Pierre is the graduate of École Polytechnique, so there is always a natural tendency to support your own alma mater, and he did, and he does, but the biggest investment that he had made was this $25 million to establish the Lassonde School of Engineering at York, which we announced last November. The university matched his $25 million. And then provincial government matched it all. So we suddenly had $100 million, and then we went to the federal government to match it, the other 100, and we hope that soon we will be able to share some good news with you. So this school is truly becoming a reality. We are creating several different units. It's not perhaps as important to mention them, but the scope of the project is following. We're going to grow our student number up to 2,000 and then cap it at that level. So we will be growing by around maybe 1,500 within very few years. We're going to hire 110 new colleagues, 70 new professors, and 40 technical staff and administrative staff. So it's a dramatic hiring exercise. And if you want to do something new, it's much easier to do it if you have an opportunity to build it bottom up and hire new generation of people that want to work with you on the ideas that you have. It's much more difficult to change things if you have a well-established faculty. I was a member of Faculty of Engineering at McGill University for 16 years. A terrific engineering school, no doubt. But if we wanted to change one course or add one course, it would take very, very long time, because everybody was afraid that one is infringing on one's field, and then the students will go to this course rather than that course. I mean, it was very, very political.